Here we go with day 2.
All right.
Well, day 2, the Michigan guys here to hunt. Did a little truck interview. Yesterday we struck out. Birds didn't gobble, so
Not a peep.
Not a peep at all anywhere. I mean, it was all across the state. People were struggling to hear birds. Made a couple contacts to some landowners. You know, try to get some scouting reports, figure out where to go, and we're going to Hell's Kitchen. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Oh, I'm dreading this mountain so bad.
So it's all.
I did this mountain last year with you, man, and that was rough.
It's straight up, straight down, but it's got birds. So we're gonna play the up-down game about 500 times a day, but we'll get on. We ain't gonna quit until we do. So, what do you think, Ethan?
I'm ready.
He says he's ready.
Ready.
He says he.
Was Ethan ready for this mountain?
Hell no. Okay. About 3/4 of the way in, so we stopped off at a couple different spots. You know, Anthony would let out a couple calls. I would let out a couple calls, and this bird was talking to us. I mean, he was just on fire. Every time we let out a yelp or a cluck or anything like this bird would not stop talking. Everything else around us that was talking that morning that was even closer, they shut up. Like we had no idea where they even went. Excuse me. And but this bird kept talking, and Anthony's like, "Well, hey, let's just get across the ridge down to the bottom of the holler, jump over the river, and then we'll go back up to him." He's like, "I got a feeling I know exactly where he's at." And I'm like, "All right, let's go." And one of the spots that we stopped, I mean, beautiful scenery. Again, man, I wouldn't trade anything for a hunt like this. Just scenery alone is enough to get you to do it over and over and over again. And one of the spots we stopped, Anthony goes up just a little bit ways to get a little bit above us, and he lets out a couple calls, and the bird's still calling. He's like, "Okay." And I looked at Ethan. I'm like, "Man, what you think?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm struggling." He's like, I don't think I brought enough water for this." And I'm like, "I told you this was going to be a hard hunt, didn't I?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I wasn't lying, was I?" And he's like, "No." And we're both just huffing and puffing. I'm like, "Man, I'm too old and fat for this."
And then you got Anthony, very unassuming looking guy, you know, kind of on the huskier side, but that man will up and down a mountain all day.
He might break a sweat, but he will not huff and puff one little bit, not one little bit. And me, I'm like, you know, I might be out of shape, but I'm still in somewhat of shape. And I thought I thought my heart was going to explode, like just pound right out of my chest and turn around, give me the finger and be like, "I'm not cut for this," and just walk away, throwing up the deuces. So I'm sitting there struggling. I'm pounding water, and you could drink water a week straight before you even try to attempt this. And I promise you, you will not be hydrated enough for this, especially in that kind of heat.
All right, here we go.
He's still hurting from yesterday's 10 miles worth of walking. We ain't in Kansas anymore.
No.
So, but anyways, maybe we'll have some more footage today, some better footage. We didn't do much yesterday, just busy trying to find birds, locate birds. But
shit, we even had birds on trail camera walking in half an hour after we leave.
Yeah, so leave the lease. 30 minutes later, 3 jakes show up right where we were sitting at, within 30 yards of it. That's about my luck, so one of my seasons going. So, but we're going to get on. It is April 23rd. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Be getting daylight in about 30 minutes. So hopefully we'll get some gobblers on camera.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Stay classy.
What do you think about this mountain?
I said it last year and I'll say it again. This mountain sucks, but the hunt is worth it.
Yeah. What about you, Ethan?
I told you it wasn't. I told you it was no joke.
No, it ain't no joke.
We've had a bird gobble.
I was telling Ian, you're a mountain goat. Just go up and down, up and down.
We've had a bird gobbling this morning. It seems like he's gobbling. He's going away from us. We're trying to get up on him. We're up above him. I think we're up above him. We're just either we're up above him or we're on the same level as he is, or maybe he's one bench up. But just did a little calling sequence. Didn't hear nothing. I'd say he's probably got hens with him. I thought I heard him gobble.
I didn't hear nothing.
This bird. You're gobbling pretty good. Just struck him coming down the mountain. So, got Ian right there. Ethan right there. There's a long, big logging road right here. That bird gobbled just down below us. So, we're hoping that he'll come up this logging road and kill one of our guys that shot. So, it's a lot of work on these mountain birds, but it's well worth it. Just gotta keep trying. Stay tuned. Be ready. Be ready. I'm gonna see him before you guys will. Watch your movements. It's gonna come right down that logging road. You ready? So are you shooting or am I shooting? Oh, he's so close. He's gobbling good. He's coming. Just be ready. Hey, we might strike up another one. There might be two. Just be ready. Just be ready. Let him get as close as you can now. He ain't but 60, 70 yards. Sounds like he's gone up above us. Be looking. Just be easy. Be ready.
So I'm going to pause it right there. We are not sponsored by the Muck Boot Company, by the way.
No, definitely not.
Perfect camera angle by Anthony here. Me and him are still learning the ins and outs of running a camera while taking guys hunting. What kind of system did you guys have between you and Ethan to decide who shot first?
So, because I had already gone out, it was like rock, paper, scissors, and then we had a knife fight to the death. Unfortunately, Ethan lost, but not really. So in that set right there that we did, the previous footage before where Ethan was, showing where where Anthony was showing where Ethan and I were sitting, that we ended up moving That's on one side of the river, and we ended up jumping to the other, where the old logging road is like literally just above the river. Excuse me. And right there, Ethan and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, dude, like, is this my bird? Is this your bird? What are we going to do? And he's like, man, I really want it to be my bird. I'm like, tell you what, we will, like, just go ahead. I told him, I'm like, go ahead and take the bird, man. And he's like, well, I don't know, man. I really don't want to fuck this up. And shortly after, you know, Anthony put the camera down. He's like, dude, that bird's not moving. He's like, he should be charging in right now. And little did we know, and Anthony kind of looked behind him and he caught just a glimpse of a hen walking up the ridge line behind us. And she was scratching. So Anthony and us three, he's like, dude, I think we could drop down on top of him and get him by surprise. And we're like, okay. And he's like, Ethan, you stay here. He's like, chances are that bird's going to come straight down that logging road. That logging road was only like 20 yards in front of us. I know it looks a little bit farther because, I mean, the trees are a little deceiving. But there's a logging road literally 20 yards in front of us. And that bird came down that logging road. So he's like, Ian, you come with me up that hill. He's like, if you miss or if he gets past us, Ethan's got a clean shot. And I'm like, and Ethan's like, yeah, I'm down for that. And
man, because he didn't want to walk up that mountain.
Well, I mean, it, like literally, like we, Anthony and I, we crawled on our hands and knees, literally probably 30, 40 yards just up the hill. And all of a sudden, this bird showed himself because he thought Anthony and I crawling through the leaves was that hen. And Anthony saw him. I didn't from where I was sitting. I was probably 5 yards behind him. And there was a tree that was laying down, and then there was a couple big trees that were still standing. And he's like, dude, I see him. I'm like, I don't fucking see anything. Like, what do you want me to shoot at? He's like, dude, shoot him. I'm like, at what? The tree? And he's cussing me up and down, left and right. He's like, dude, take the shot. And then all of a sudden, from behind that tree that was laying down, all I see is this bright red head poking up, looking at me. And I'm like, oh, man, come on. And I was shooting the Foxtrot ammo, which I absolutely love. But at 20 yards, I'm holding a pattern the size of a quarter. And all this bird presented me with was his head. I saw nothing else. And I shot, and I happened to be just under his head. So all I hit was that tree that was laying down. Bird's like, what the hell just happened? And he kind of stumbled back, and Ethan's like, dude, I saw him after we talked to him. He's like, yeah, I saw the bird stumble back, and then all of a sudden he gets up and flies away. I was like, oh my God, man. So that kind of busted my one chance at a mountain bird, which I've been pining for since I started hunting the mountain.
Well, so you've done this 2 years now, and after that mountain has kicked your ass for 2 years in a row, you finally, here it is. Here's my bird.
Yeah, and the problem is my gun. I could have definitely shot in that bird on the wing, which honestly, I don't want to shoot a turkey on the wing. I do it all the time on, upland hunting. You're shooting grouse, pheasant, woodcock. A lot of times you're shooting the birds on the wing. You don't ever shoot anything on the ground. And I could have definitely, and I drew up on him. I had him dead to rights, and my gun failed to chamber the next round. And I was like, come on. Anthony looks at me. He threw his hat as hard as he could into the ground and started stomping it into the ground. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? I can't take it back. I can't press rewind and do it all over again. Because if I did, I'd have aimed like a quarter of an inch higher, and that bird would have been toast. But and he's like, you know what? I don't know. He's like, it is what it is. So, and then we started climbing down the mountain, and Anthony let out a couple calls, and he called up one more bird that was behind us, actually, after that was calling previously as we were walking into the one that I missed. And that was, at that point, I'm like, man, I'm putting my gun down, Ethan. This bird is yours. I want nothing to do with this shit for the rest of the day. So, and then some a-holes on the mountain, man, busted that one up, and I felt horrible because Ethan had that bird dead to rights as well, and unfortunately he somebody boogered.
So I'm gonna skip forward just a little bit, because what you see in the boots is just Anthony calling, and then you got this part right here.
He's going to the right. He's going to
see the bird. So you guys did actually. There's video evidence of you guys seeing the bird.
Yeah. So this is actually the bird that I told Ethan, like, this is your bird. So this bird came charging down the mountain, just charging down. He came running in, and he hung up at about 40 to 50 yards, and then hung up on that line and started moving towards our right.
Yeah, you don't really see him in the video again after this part.
No,
once Anthony put the camera down, he lost it.
Unfortunately, like, as that bird was moving left to right, he hung up at about 40, 50 yards. Ethan felt a little nervous. He's like, man, I don't know. I'm like, dude, you got this bird. Like, just put the bead under his head right there where the neck meets the body, man. Like, you got this. And he drew up on him, and the bird started moving again after he had stopped for a second. And he's like, Ian, you just take the shot. And I'm like, no, I'm not shooting at this bird. Like, you shoot this bird. And then all of a sudden, some guy on a four-wheeler and a truck pulls up. They slam the door, and then they started letting out turkey calls. And that bird took off, and we never saw or heard from it again. And Ethan and I looked at each other, and we're like, oh, there goes. That's the end of our hunting excursion down in Tennessee.